premium lodging, eclectic shopping, and a variety of locally owned craft food and drink options, Kearney has something for everyone. By day, you'll find rich history, outdoor adventure, and some of America's most unique attractions. And by night, our many entertainment options, dazzling performances, and unique hangouts offer the perfect way to unwind. Visit Kearney. It's so much more than just in the middle.
Hi, I'm Baylor Shireman, proud to call Aurora, Nebraska home. From dreaming big in a small town to being drafted by the Boston Celtics, I've always aimed for the best. That's why I rely on Roe Buick in Grand Island and Roe Chevrolet in Aurora for my vehicles. When you're driven to succeed, you choose a winning team. Before you drive away in your next car, check with the team that knows how to win. Roe. It's the Roe you know.
Hi, my name is Ryan. John chapter 8 says, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone." Jesus tells us not to condemn others. It's not our job. He then tells the woman being condemned, "Now go and sin no more." He loves her too much to let her stay where she is. He wants so much more for us. He wants us not to just squeak by in our lives, but to live fully in Christ's example.
Hey, sports fans, heading to the big game tonight? Make sure you stop by Speedy Mart before you hit the stadium. Fuel up your car and grab your favorite snacks and drinks to keep your energy high. Whether it's chips, soda, or a quick meal, Speedy Mart has everything you need to kick off your game night right. Don't miss out. Swing by Speedy Mart for all your pre-game essentials.
Speedy Mart, snacks before the game.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
2025 Nebraska State Basketball on News Channel Nebraska is presented by Currency. Does your business need help financing big-ticket items? Currency is here to help. Visit GoCurrency.com for details. Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose. Find out more at LibertyFirstCU.com. Teammates Mentoring. Join the team. Be a mentor. Go to teammates.org today. Woodhouse Auto. Convenience delivered every time. Medica. With a Medica health plan, you're not just covered, you're cared for. And by 5 Points Bank. Trust the better bank with your financial needs.
News Channel Nebraska is proud to be at the Bob Devaney Sports Center in Lincoln, Nebraska for another day, another week of state tournament basketball on NCN. One of these teams has one of the longest trips to Lincoln out of anybody in the tournament. The other comes from just an hour down the road in Omaha, but all roads lead to Lincoln when it comes to the state tournament. He's Lou Siefker, I'm Jake Bartecki. It is Omaha Concordia, the 3 seed, Sidney, the 6 seed, a couple of athletic groups who are mainstays here at the state tournament.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was going to use, mainstays. These teams seem like they're always here. Neither team has had a state championship. Omaha Concordia never. Sidney, it's been a long time. So both teams trying to get into that semifinal game and against Donovan Trumbull with maybe a chance to make it to the state championship game. We'll see how this thing goes this afternoon.
Well, they always talk about when it comes to Sidney or Scottsbluff or Ogallala, who you just saw, the road trip out here. If you're Sidney, how do you kind of handle that?
That's a good question. Try to get a lot of rest, eat right. I don't know. I mean, you're right. That's about a 5-hour drive out here. So it makes a difference. But you get out here early, you get some rest. I don't think it's going to be a factor at this stage, this time of the day. Maybe a 9 o'clock game, but not now.
Beautiful area of the state and the country out there in western Nebraska. Let's talk about our key players for this one. First for Omaha Concordia, Drew Koulis, gutsy player, 10 points in the district final, and he played with food poisoning.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how you do that. I would not be able to do that. But Koulis is the quarterback of that team. He's just a smart player. He's a coach's kid. He makes the right decisions, and he's a clutch player. I think if this game comes late, I think Koulis is the guy that Omaha Concordia is going to lean on to make the big shot.
Sometimes these games are decided late in the post, Lou, and they've got a player, Deuce Sidney, in the post, and Kean Kaiser. Football player galore, offers from Iowa State and Wyoming. I mean, good player, and a 3-star by rivals, but he's got to do it on the basketball floor today.
Yeah, well, you got to have good athletes to get here. Sometimes there are other sport athletes, but that physical strength, I think, is going to be key against Concordia. I think he's a guy that can make some hay inside the paint and maybe push some guys around and clear some space. We'll see how that plays, but he's going to be an important guy for Sidney.
Nobody wants to see their state tournament be short-lived. We're going to find out who's moving on to the semifinals next on NCN.
Hi, I'm Jake. I grew up with a great relationship with God. After high school, I became selfish and put my own desires before God. I struggled with alcohol and lust, and the devil had a tight grip on me. My life was full of darkness, and I was on the verge of losing my family. Thankfully, I chose God as my higher power, and through treatment, amended my relationship with God and my family. If you are struggling, contact your local pastor or priest, or call 402-379-2030.
NCN Sports is brought to you by Currency. Visit GoCurrency.com for details. The Carpet Shop, providing quality residential and commercial floor covering and installation for almost 50 years. And by See the Trainer, with locations in Columbus, Lincoln, Omaha, Bellevue, and North Platte.
Welcome back to News Channel Nebraska, getting set for a C1 quarterfinal between Omaha Concordia and Sidney. You know, you wouldn't expect two schools that are 400 miles apart to have a common opponent on their schedule, but these two teams do. Both of them saw Bridgeport in the postseason, and honestly, the Bulldogs gave both of these teams all they could handle. Sidney saw Bridgeport in the sub-district final, fell behind early, took a fairly comfortable lead into the third quarter before Bridgeport went on a 22-12 run in the second half and made it close before Sidney was able to pull away. Bridgeport then qualified for the district final, where they saw Omaha Concordia and honestly dominated most of that game. Mustangs only scored 2 points in the second quarter, were down by 6 heading into the fourth when they came back, forced overtime, and won it by 7. Now, I don't know what you can glean from teams and how they do against common opponents, but one thing I do know for sure, both of these teams probably happy Bridgeport isn't here. Two guys we are always happy are here at state, Jake Partecki and Lou Siefker, with your starting lineups and much more here on News Channel Nebraska. Guys?
Worked with Agri City pretty much since the beginning of my ownership here at Motoplex. It's real important for us to have good insurance and good insurance provider that works with us with the different aspects of having a lot of new inventory, used inventory, and then customers' machines while we're fixing them. They make it really easy to have me just focus on the business because they take care of the back end stuff. They care about Motoplex, but they care about us here at Motoplex as people and individuals.
I'm Rick Keener with Agri City Insurance, protecting what you grow.
A body in motion stays in motion until you feel that muscle tighten, that sharp pain you didn't expect, and suddenly you're stopped in your tracks. KRT helps you get back in action with all natural pain relief in just minutes. Don't get sidelined by muscle cramps. Stay in the game with KRT.
The pregame show is brought to you by Custom Sports. Check them out at CustomSportsCO.com and by KRT. Learn more at KRTRelief.com. State basketball on NCN is brought to you by Heritage at Fountain Point, redefining senior living with a steadfast commitment to comfort, compassion, and dignity. Agri City Insurance, protecting what you grow. And by Family Physical Therapy and Sports Center, getting you back in the game.
Well, there's a look at the Bob Devaney Sports Center here in the North Bottoms of Lincoln, Nebraska. Let's tell you about a couple of these teams. One came, as we said in the pregame show, right an hour down the road from here in Lincoln, and then the other from way out in western Nebraska. Our school spotlight brought to you in part by Currency. There's a look at Concordia High School, 5th state tournament appearance. They were 3rd place last year, and in 2021, they are the Mustangs. Once again, our school spotlight brought to you in part by Currency. Does your business need help for financing big ticket items? Currency is here to help. And from all the way out in Cheyenne County, Sidney High School, 42nd state tournament appearance. You mentioned it's been a long time, Lou, 1945, and since 1981, they are the mighty Red Raiders. One team nearby, the other not so much.
Yeah, that's quite the difference. I like what Eric had to say about the common opponents. You wouldn't think teams that far apart would have common opponents, but they certainly did. And I think this is going to be a fun basketball game. Well, let's go ahead and look at the map.
Speaking of the distance there, so there you see Sidney all the way out in western Nebraska and Concordia up there near Omaha, and then you got a bunch of teams all the way hodgepodged in the middle along I-80.
Yeah, it's kind of stretched out there, isn't it? But you got some West Coast flavor. Sydney's the farthest west. Now, Ogallala and Cozad have both lost, so it's up to Sidney to keep that western side of the state active here in Class C1.
Well, we'll find out if they can do that. And you mentioned in Class C1, a look here at the bracket. A stacked bracket, and that's one of the things I really like about this year's tournament, and not just in C1, but all across. You see there, Lincoln Lutheran, Ashland Greenwood, a local matchup. Donovan Trumbull, they pull the upset over Ogallala. I think that's going to be a great game in the semifinals.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fantastic game. I think both those teams are really playing their best basketball right now. We saw Donovan Trumbull, another team, playing great ball that just made plays against Ogallala and found ways to win. So, yeah, obviously you don't get to the semifinals without playing well, but all of those teams that have advanced are really, really playing well at the right time.
Yeah, Lincoln Lutheran, Ashland Greenwood, kind of the local side of things. You could see Sidney and Donovan Trumbull. That would be out in the other part of the state. Well, as we look at the non-starters getting introduced here, Lou, a couple of keys for you tonight, especially for Sidney. Coming in, this is an athletic group that Concordia has. They've got a lot of size. How do they combat that?
Well, you know, you're asking about Sidney?
Yeah, how they can kind of combat some of that Concordia size.
I think they got to use their physical strength. I think they've got to, they may not have the height, but I think they have to. They got some big guys. They got some football players. They just got to play a physical game. You got to bring it. You got to not back down. I think Sidney's a team that may not be the prettiest team as far as when you look at their win-loss record. They've got 8 losses, but a team that found ways to win. They went on the road and beat Wayne in the district finals, so a team that knows how to win. We'll see what happens here today, but again, a team that found a way against Wayne to get here to state.
Sure. And, of course, Eric mentioned it, a win in double overtime for Concordia over Bridgeport. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Austin Lewis's Sidney Red Raiders. Reed Fiskus, Landon Riddle, Lance Holly, Alec Doty, and Kean Kaiser. Kaiser and Riddle, 2 potential college football players, are going to have to be at their best here on the basketball floor.
Yeah, they're going to have to play that strong style, be physical. You've got that football frame. You got to be tough against a very this Omaha Concordia team. We've seen them in the past. They're also a very tough team, so you got to match that physicality.
And then on the other side, Ken Kulis, who's in his 12th year as head coach at Concordia, 187 wins. And there's a look at the Mustangs starting 5. Again, they're the 3 seed, Sidney the 6 seed, Concordia 21-4, Sidney 18-8. 2 juniors, 2 seniors, a sophomore, Owen Abendroth, Drew Kulis, Jack Thrasher, Jackson Shepard, and Cole Cheatham, the lone sophomore in the lineup. We told you about Drew Kulis, 15.5 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and a pretty good football season as well. 447 rushing yards, 685 passing yards as quarterback for the Mustangs. I'm excited for this one, Lou. This is going to be fun.
I think so. I am. Like you, I'm looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a tightly contested game, and we'll see who steps up for each team as this game draws late.
And you see the two sides lined up here. They're going to meet at center court for the pregame handshake, as is tradition here at the state tournament. Presenting sponsors for the state tournament on News Channel Nebraska include Teammates Mentoring. Join the team, be a mentor. Go to teammates.org today. And Liberty First Credit Union, presented by Liberty First Credit. Banking with purpose. Find out more at libertyfirstcu.com. Sidney out in the red uniforms, the white and blues for Concordia. And there's a look at a pretty good crowd here for a 3:15 game on a Wednesday.
Yeah, you got to love it. Love the, especially here. Now, obviously, they have the advantage. Omaha Concordia's fan section, student section, a lot closer drive to get the kids here, but both sections are showing up here today.
I think it's going to be an intense atmosphere as the tip is up and won by the Mustangs. They will go to work on offense. Pass to the near side, and there is Drew Kulis. Passes it off to his right to Cheatham. Thinking about the three was Shepard. Drops one down to the baseline. And a loose basketball picked up by Doty as Concordia turns it over on their first possession of the game. This is Kaiser who hands it off to Fiskus. Lance Holly goes back to Kaiser at the top of the key. 15 points per game. Drives in, misses the layup. And the rebound picked up underneath, but unable to clear are the Mustangs, and this will stay with Sidney.
And for Sidney offensively, they're going to try to attack the basket. They've got slashers in there is what Coach calls them, and they're going to try to push tempo when they have the opportunity. They're not going to play racehorse basketball, but they're going to try to attack on the offensive end.
And as our viewers out in western Nebraska know, this is vintage. Kean Kaiser drives in, initiates the contact, and gets a foul on Thrasher.
That's what you got to do, I think, for Sidney. Be physical on both ends of the floor.
On the corner here for Fiskus. 6'2 senior, plays point and shooting guard, and he hands it off to Doty. In and out on the long two, but the putback, Kaiser had a couple of looks on that opening possession, couldn't finish, and Concordia clears.
Yeah, Kaiser left that putback short.
Out of the corner as Abendroth drives in, laid it up, couldn't get the roll, and Kaiser comes down with it. Kaiser drives in, and there's a push-off here against Concordia once again. And as we said on that first possession, Lou, how you doing, Mr. Mustang? Driving right to the rack and creating chaos.
Yeah, both teams have had pretty good looks here, and both teams have missed those shots.
And a foul that time charged to Jackson Shepard. It's a three, that one left short, and the rebound tracked down in the corner by Fiskus. Kaiser looking for the answer, and he couldn't find the bottom of the rim.
Everything kind of short right now. You know it's not fatigue, likely jitters and an unforced error there for Concordia. Kula steps out of bounds.
Second turnover of the ball game. Concordia averages 11 giveaways per game. Not a ton, Lou, but two early ones here.
Yeah, I got to take care of the basketball. Turnovers are usually big in games like this on the big stage here.
Riddle passes off to his right. Fiskus had the ball knocked free. There's a tie-up for it. We'll have a jump ball. 5:51 to go in the first, and we still haven't seen a bucket. Two teams that score pretty well, right around 60 points per game each, but plays like this, Lou, this is why we haven't had any points yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the hustle there by Kulis, tapping that ball away and then diving on the floor. They don't get possession, but that's the kind of effort that you're looking for from your leader.
Here's Lance Holly, 6'2 junior, 5 points per game. Drives in, Doty can't get the roll. And we've got a whistle and a push-off here against Sidney, and Austin Lewis doesn't seem to like the call.
Yeah, they didn't like the call, but Concordia with the basketball. We're almost 2.5 minutes in. Nobody scored.
And again, Sidney averages 60 points per game, shoots at around 40%. Similar numbers for Concordia as well. Kulis works it to his right to Jack Thrasher. Went to the free throw line and kicks it back out. Looking for the first bucket of the game. Cheatham tossed it out of bounds, but a deflection by the Red Raiders will keep it with Concordia. And now nearly 3 minutes in, and we haven't had a point. Our first quarter that has no points thus far is brought to you in part by John Henry's Our Family Serving Yours. Looking to change that is Shepard, and he will. First bucket of the ball game goes to Jackson Shepard.
Well, good luck that time. Concordia gets the first one to fall. I think both teams, you play a little tight when you start the game. You hope through the flow of the game you loosen up and those shots start falling.
Here's Kaiser, double teamed at the block and tried to initiate contact again. This time he travels, and both teams with 2 early turnovers here in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, both teams just trying to fill things out right now, and like I said, it's I got to believe right now it's just a little bit of jitters as we talk about it all the time. The bright lights here at the state tournament, a little different than a regular season game, a lot on the line.
And there's also an adjustment period, I feel, for teams from playing in small high school gyms to getting used to just the geometry of the Devaney Center in PBA. Jump shot in and out. That was Jack Thrasher, 46% shooter on the season. Doesn't miss very much. He did there, and Sidney will look to tie or take the lead.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about just the shooting backdrop in the bigger gyms. It's just a little different sight line for players.
I've heard a lot of players say they feel like they miss long at the Devaney Center. Kaiser up top with it. Punch pass. Beautiful look down inside. Lance Holly with his first points of the game, and Sidney's on the board.
Now both teams now getting some shots to fall, getting quality looks.
Avondreth goes to the top of the key. 3 on the way. Koulis can't get that one to go. And watch out, Michael Shively. And Eric McKay goes out of bounds. We'll keep it on this end. Can't miss him in those gold jackets.
Yeah, you got to love those gold jackets.
Take another look here. What a beautiful find this was. And this is what makes Kaiser so dangerous, is he's multifaceted with a great find.
That's a great pass, you're right. Good vision. Find the cutter underneath for the easy bucket.
2 points for Jackson Shepard for Concordia, 2 for Lance Holly for Sidney. That's all that's on the scoreboard here, and we've got an off-ball foul that'll give the possession back to the Red Raiders.
Yeah, got a moving screen. That was right in front of us. Ryan Taylor of Concordia gets caught with the moving screen. That was the right call.
That's his first foul of the ball game. Just checked in off the bench for Ken Koulis, the 12th-year head coach. Also serves as the junior high AD for the Mustangs. Reed Fiskus steps to his right. Goes over to Kenobi. This is Riddle, down to Kaiser. Just a matter of time before he entered the scorebook, and Sidney has a 4-2 lead.
Well, Sidney being patient offensively, working their sets. 2 possessions in a row, they get lay-ins. That's very efficient.
2 points, 2 rebounds for Kaiser in 5 minutes on the floor. He's played the entire length of the ball game to this point. 4-2 Raiders. Driving towards the baseline was Cheatham. Tried to kick it back out, but a whistle here and a foul against Cash Kenobi, his first of the game.
It's got a bump there on the drive.
Ryan Taylor, the top of the key. Koulis, fade away in the lane. Caught back, iron, rebound, tapped at. Fiskus came down with it, and Fiskus draws a foul.
Well, as good as Andrew Koulis is, I'm not sure he's the guy you want posting up in the middle of that lane at 6 foot tall. That's a tough shot, a turnaround. And it goes, obviously goes Sidney's way as they lead in this slow first quarter, 4-2.
Alec Doty swings it right. Teams a combined 3 of 13 shooting the basketball, make it 3 of 14 as a miss by the right block for Sidney. And a whistle and another foul here. And Lou, this we've seen in the state tournament as well. When you get these fouls going back and forth one way or the other, it a lot of times disrupts your rhythm offensively.
Yeah, and I think both these teams want to play this style, though. I think they want to play a little bit slower. They're going to pick and choose their times to run, but we've seen teams like Ogallala and Donovan Trumbull in the last game that really push the tempo. I think both these teams are more comfortable in that half court, and we'll see which team can. So far, it's been Sidney that in the last few possessions that have been able to get pretty good shot opportunities, some high percentage shots.
Kaiser goes 1 of 2 at the line. Sidney just 58% on the line this season, but they are up in this one 5-2, and with points at a premium, a 3-point lead seems like a lot. Back cut. Cheatham shook away the defender but couldn't finish, and the rebound cleared by Sidney once again, and Doty will slow it up at the half court.
This thing's struggling to finish plays right now.
Kaiser parts the seas and plants the finger roll to make it a 7-2 game.
Jan Kaiser, such a good athlete, just blew by the Concordia defense. Another lay-in. Sidney's getting a lot of lay-ins.
It is a 7-0 run for the Red Raiders right now, and Andrew Koulis puts it in off the glass to stop the run.
Yeah, Koulis is such a, no pun intended, but he's a cool cucumber. He's the guy that makes plays when things are going crazy.
And off the window, Cash Kenobi, the sophomore off the bench. Austin Lewis loves this kid. He's dunked twice this season on junior varsity. He's an athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
9-4 the score. Spot up 3, well short for Shepherd. Both teams now combining to go 0 of 6 from downtown, both 0 of 3. 1 minute to go in the first, and it's a 9-4 lead for the Red Raiders.
Sidney can continue to move the basketball the way they've been. They're 4 of 12 from the field, but all 4 buckets have been lay-ins. They've found good shots.
We'll see if Kaiser gets it going from beyond the arc. The Sidney group 30% from 3, and Kaiser's going to try to shoot the 3 here. Left it short, and Taylor grabs the board.
The last possession for Concordia, the game clock, time clock, almost dead even.
We'll see how long they decide to hold it for. Top of the key with the basketball. Pass right to Cheatham. Good defense by Kenobi, but a little too handsy. He's going to get hit with a foul. Second foul of the game there for Cash Kenobi. There you see it. Reese Dorsey will check in off the bench. 6'4" sophomore comes in with 14 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
Never bad to bring in some size off the bench.
Up top with the basketball, Koulis found on the back cut. The pass was threading the needle. Sidney will likely just hold it here. A heave down floor, high off the glass, and the first quarter comes to an end. A 7-0 run, the difference in this one, but a 5-point lead for the Red Raiders of Sidney. They lead it 9-4. Dean Kaiser, 5 points at the end of the first.
At the racetrack or the rat race round town, fuel matters. Here, customers can expect the highest quality fuel that they deserve.
Second quarter underway. Sidney with a 9-4 lead on the shoulders of 5 points from Kean Kaiser and some strong defense. Took us nearly half the first quarter to even see any points. We're back underway here in Lincoln. He's Lou Seifker. I'm Jake Bartecki. Lou, what have you thought so far?
Well, I like the fact that Sidney is 4 of 5 from layups. I mean, all 4 of their field goals have been point-blank shots, and right now Concordia 0 for 3 on layups. So Concordia has been missing the makeable shots. Sidney's been making them.
Going to the rim here again is Kaiser. Missed the layup. And we've got a tie-up. That'll send the ball back down to Concordia. Scoring breakdown right now. Kaiser leads all scorers with 5. Everybody else has 2 points. There you see Kaiser drive in and the tie-up underneath.
Sidney's also been able to snare 5 offensive rebounds in this ball game. So that's, if you're a Sidney Red Raider fan, that's a very good sign if you can control the boards.
Now they average 10 offensive rebounds per game. So well on pace to at least reach or pass that mark. Shepard drove in, had the ball poked free for a moment. And now it's Koulis back up top. Koulis is going to try a college range 3. That one goes out of bounds. Don't think anybody touched it for Sidney. Officials agree. And another empty possession and a turnover for the Mustangs.
Yeah, we talked about the distance that Sidney has had to come to get here. I think there's a lot of people that sometimes cheer for teams like Sidney because you come so far, you hate to go home.
Sure.
Get one and done.
Stay in town, enjoy the city.
Yeah, exactly. And stay and play. Get another game in. We'll see if they're able to do that. Concordia says, I don't think so.
We'll find out. Got to find an answer for this guy, Kean Kaiser, who hands one off here. Oh. Stepping out of the 3, driving through contact, lays it up and in. Jackson Shepard hit the deck, but Lou Kaiser gets downhill.
Yeah, Kaiser's so strong. No call either way on that, which is surprising. The Kaiser just so strong.
And on the other end, Abendroth drove in, missed one off the padding below the backboard. And there is a foul here against Sidney to the dismay of the bench. It's on Reese Dorsey off the bench, just his first. Comes with 6:12 to go in the first half, and they'll send Concordia to the line. First free throw attempts of the ball game for the Mustangs. In and out for Owen Abendroth.
And Concordia right now only shooting 18% from the field. And they just missed their first free throw. So if you're a Mustang fan, you hope the players start finding the bottom of that net here soon.
0 for 2 trip at the line for Concordia. Now the ball thrown into the backcourt, and that'll go back to Sidney easily. And the Red Raiders maintain a 7-point lead. Lou, you look at some of the stats from the first half. You pointed out the offensive rebounding. I also point out the second chance points. That's another thing that really has worked in the favor of Concordia this season. None right now, largely because Sidney's taking care of the basketball.
Yep, that's exactly right. Take care of the basketball. Don't give a team like Concordia those opportunities, especially in transition.
2 minutes into the second quarter. In the corner, that's Riddle. Older sister, Reese, a 4-year starter on the girls team. Part of that 2023 Red Raiders semifinal group who went 25-3. All knocked out of bounds. Sidney will keep it here. It's one of the nice parts about the state tournament as well, as you see players like the Riddles and obviously the Koulises, Ken and Drew on the floor. Just see the family ties.
Yeah, absolutely. Get to really know these teams that you don't get to see all the time on the eastern part of the state, especially.
Treat for guys like us that cover most of those teams as well. Kaiser drove in. There was a whistle as he put the shot up, and they're going to catch a foul here offensively, his first foul of the ball game. What do you think, Lou?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
I don't know.
Oh, that's where the foul is. Okay.
Right after the play.
The reach, yeah, that's the foul. I agree with that one.
It's his first of the ball game. I actually think Kaiser might have thought that was on the shot, not after the play, by the way he reacted. Thrasher thrashes in the lane and gets fouled to go to the line for 2.
That's going to be the same thing there. Kaiser picks up his second. Back to back.
Yeah, so a clean first quarter for Kaiser, who you really need throughout the ball game. 2 fouls in 15 seconds of game time?
Yeah, you can't have that. He's too important. You can't have Kaiser be a spectator. You've got to have him on the floor. He's going to sit down here for a while. We'll see if he comes back in. Still 5:20 to go before halftime, so that's a long time for arguably your best player to be sitting.
Thrasher makes the first free throw. Just 54% on the line this season, but he goes 2 for 2 here after Abendroth went 0 for 2 to start the ball game, and all of a sudden a 5-point game here in Lincoln. Bounce pass to the corner, breaking free. 3 on the way, short for Doty. And the rebound tracked down by Shepard.
Well,
neither team has hit a 3 yet, Luke.
Yeah, we haven't seen. I was just going to say, very low-scoring game. Not a lot of perimeter shots have fallen.
Until right now, Owen Abendroth from the right wing. Nothing but net.
Timeout.
Austin Lewis wants to talk things over. What was once a 7-point lead down to 2. Owen Abendroth starts the game's 3-point barrage. It's 11-9 Sidney here second quarter.
Champions are crowned each year in Lincoln. All of us at Visit Lincoln welcome the athletes, families, and fans from across Nebraska to our community. When the final whistle blows and the game ends, make sure to discover how Lincoln can make your stay even more memorable. Stop by the Visitor Center at 7th and P in the Haymarket or visit us on the web at lincoln.org. Visit Lincoln is a proud supporter of high school athletics.
Welcome back to the Bob Devaney Sports Center. My name is Jake Bartecki. Lou Siefker seated here to my left. And all of a sudden, Lou, the Mustangs within 2 points. Kaiser with 2 fouls for Sidney. Little momentum shift here in the building.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, right after we say, Jake, that the three-point shots aren't falling, they start falling. And that's a good sign. I think really both these teams want to open up this offense just a little bit.
Cash Kenobi with his 18th three-point make of the season. Puts Sidney back in front by 5, and somehow Thrasher works his way through the traffic and goes up for 2 into the line for 1.
And Jackson Thrasher at 6'4", gets the defender on his hip, takes it into the lane, kind of surrounded there, still gets contact. And now we get a three-point play the old-fashioned way.
The foul was on Landon Riddle. Free throw no good. And the rebound secured by Doty for the Red Raiders. Shifty move. Doty goes in, got hit on the arm. And he'll go to the line for 2 free throws as well. Didn't see any free throws in the first quarter, Lou. Now the foul starting to rack up in the shooting department. We'll see what Sidney can do at the line. That one's pretty clear.
Yeah, that was definitely a foul. I don't think anybody's complaining on that one.
And our instant replay brought to you in part by Unity Eye Centers. Perfect clarity on and off the field, your vision experts. Our second quarter is brought to you in part by Steve Carper and the crew at O Street Carpet. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Lou, but you got to get the sponsors in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's much more important than what I have to say. But what I think Sidney's doing what they want to do right now, and that's attack the basket and just be aggressive. We talked about their slashers. You saw that on that particular drive.
Shot up, no good, but the putback up and in by Drew Kulis.
Good rebound from the 6-foot guard.
Makes it a one-score game once again, 16-13. Kick to the corner. Holly reverses course and goes to Fiskus. Scoreless in the game is Reed Fiskus. Exchange on the near side. 3 up. That one well short from the moment it left his hand. Doty can't hit. And here comes Concordia looking to cut it to 1 or tie the ball game. Kulis will settle for 2. Drove in, couldn't get the shot to go. And on the baseline, they'll call this Sidney basketball, as they'll say stepping out of bounds on the play was Heineck.
Very physical game here. Another no call. It's probably a pretty good block there. Viscus got up there and erased that drive. But again, I think really both teams trying to attack the paint, trying to get the ball to the rim, and if you can't, get yourself to the free throw line.
Fourth turnover of the game for the Mustangs, who average 10 per game this season. To the corner, 3 out of the way. Too strong, that one the miss by Holly. And up the floor with numbers if they want them are the Mustangs, but they'll slow it down. Cheatham to his right to Shepard. Kulis will backpedal and reset the offense. Shepard had the ball juggled for a moment, but he settles it down and gets 2, and it's a 1-point game at the Bob.
Good quarter awareness by Shepard after catching that. Realized nobody was behind him, just took the ball right to the basket.
Sidney looking to put a little difference between themselves and Concordia here in the first half. Driving in, missing the layup, wanted a call. Doty doesn't get it. And up the floor comes Jackson Shepard. Transition 3. Short for Abendroth, who has the only make from downtown for the Mustangs.
This game is speeding up right now, Jake. It was kind of a slower pace. Now both teams kind of looking to push.
We'll see who that benefits here. 100 seconds to go in the half. Ball knocked free. And Kulis nearly had the steal, but he stepped out of bounds trying to corral that one. It'll stay with Sidney. Still a good play there by Kulis.
Yeah, undercut him, but almost made the steal.
Stick around at halftime for our halftime show, which is brought to you in part by Visit Kearney. Find it all in Kearney. We'll get thoughts from myself and Lou Siefker. We'll hear from Eric McKay and even take a look at some highlights from the first half. 3 up, way off the mark. Air ball by Landon Riddle. And the Mustang student section's going to let him hear about it.
Yeah, Mustangs have a chance now to take the lead.
Would be their first lead since 2-0. Driving down to the baseline, Cheatham forced out of bounds. They'll catch a foul here. It was on Kenobi, who picks up his 3rd off the bench. Again, you might have noticed we haven't called Kean Kaiser's name for a while. That's because Austin Lewis protecting him for the second half as he has 2 fouls.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea if you can maintain where you're at. Now, tie ball game. We'll see if they bring him back in for the last minute 19. Probably not.
In a close one like this, you want every piece of benefit you can get. Second free throw up and good. Cheatham goes 2 for 2. And as you called, Lou, Concordia takes the lead for the first time since 2-0. 1:09 to go here in the first half. Sidney basketball down by 1. Crowd is into it here in the North Bottoms. Reese Dorsey drives in, and they'll call a foul on the floor here against Concordia.
One thing I've noticed at times with Sidney, as we watch this drive, is they look like it nearly got grabbed. So from that angle, not quite as bad. But I've seen them, Red Raiders at times on those drives really change their shots. Go into the traffic and take your normal shot. Don't try to be too creative and change it.
Dorsey's 3 got deflected on its way up. It was saved, but not for long. Here come the Mustangs up the floor. Looked like a travel there. They didn't make the call. And now with 35 seconds to go in the half, Concordia can add to the 1-point lead. Right side at the free throw line. 3 on the way. Good to go. Owen Abendroth, 4-point lead for Concordia.
Abendroth with a clutch shot now. 4-point lead for the Mustangs.
13 seconds to go in the half. Driving in is Cash Kenobi. And the flip back to the top of the key. Riddle to Kaiser to Riddle. He drives, finds the back cut for the bucket at the buzzer. The horn sounds, and the score at the end of the first 16 minutes, Concordia 20, Sidney 18. We've got a good one. Before we kick it to break, Lou Siefker, your quick thoughts.
Well, 16-point quarter there from Concordia. They really got the offense going, and they did that partially just by speeding it up a little bit. Found better shots, knocking down some perimeter shots as well.
We'll kick it to break. Our halftime highlights brought to you in part by Sartor Heyman Jewelers and Roe Buick are coming up after this. It's Concordia by 2 at the break.
State basketball on NCN is brought to you by Roe Buick in Grand Island and Roe Chevy in Aurora. And by News Channel Nebraska. Want to know which games we're televising each week? Follow us on X at NCN Sports. Nebraska weather is extreme, fast-changing, and at times severe. That's why News Channel Nebraska is turning to the person who knows Nebraska's weather best. Introducing Chief Forecaster Kent Bowden. With over 40 years of forecasting experience and a place in the Nebraska Broadcasters Hall of Fame, Kent brings unmatched experience to your screen. Watch Kent on NCN Monday through Thursday, bringing his forecast to the entire state.
This is home.
5 Points Bank brings communities together. Points Bank. Bank, better community, better life.
Zollner Ford in Beatrice has options to make the process of buying or maintaining vehicles easy and enjoyable. If you have your sights on a new vehicle, a member of our sales team would love to show it to you in the warmth of our showroom or bring it right to your driveway. For maintenance, we offer a few options to make service appointments convenient, like free pickup and delivery within 25 miles of Beatrice, including all of Lincoln. We can also come to you with our mobile service unit to help quickly get going again. Zollner Ford in Beatrice. Sales and service with a smile.
Back at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, 20-18 Concordia with the lead over Sidney at the half here on News Channel Nebraska. You know, when you're like Sidney, you play out on the Panhandle. Travel is going to be part of the equation. It's just the way it is. There aren't a whole lot of teams to play that are close to you. Take one weekend last February 14th. Sidney travels north to Chadron, 131 miles on a Friday. They lose by 7. Immediately leave Chadron and drive from there to Grand Island because they're playing in the Heartland Hoops Classic the next day. The problem, that night there was a blizzard in the Sandhills along Highway 2 as they made their way through. It took them 6 hours to get to Grand Island. Checked into their hotel at 2 o'clock in the morning, got a little bit of sleep, and then beat Grand Island Central Catholic as part of the Heartland Hoops Classic. Coach Lewis said it would have been really easy for the players to use that travel as an excuse. Instead, they used it as an experience, binded themselves together, and got the win. That's why when they ended up having to travel all the way to Wayne in the district final, they were ready for it. Now, by the time they finish here at the state tournament, when they get back to Sidney this weekend, they will have traveled over 4,000 miles this season. The second half will determine whether or not all that travel has been worth it. On to two guys who it's always worth it to travel with, Jake Bartecki and Lou Siefker.
To being playing basketball in western Nebraska.
Yeah, we talked to their AD a year or two ago about the travel budget and about how much, you got to plan for bands, you got to plan for the kids to come out here and play basketball. Students, it's different than if you live in Omaha or Lincoln coming here, it's no big deal. But driving from Sidney, that's a challenge.
And when you talk about planning for things, you got to plan for Kean Kaiser, and now you got to plan to try and protect him from foul trouble. He's got 2 fouls, 7 points here at the break. How does Austin Lewis make sure he makes it to the end?
Well, you've got to tell him, first of all, to be intelligent and not do something silly. Don't pick up a cheap foul. If I've seen so many times the guy misses an easy shot and then tries to get the ball back, picks up a foul. You got to play smart. He's too important for this team. I don't think they win this game without Kaiser on the floor in the second half. He's got to stay on the floor. He can't be a spectator, and you do that just by using your noodle and not making silly mistakes.
What's the key for Concordia? It seems like they've had their best offensive flow when they've gotten out in transition.
Yeah, they've sped the game up. I think it was a slog there in that first quarter, and really neither team got into any rhythm. Sidney did for a little bit. They got some lay-ins in that quarter, but when the game sped up, Concordia sped up, and I think they played better at the faster pace than did Sidney. They found some shots. They knocked down some perimeter shots, and they scored 16 points that quarter. That's an excellent quarter. Can they keep it up? We'll find that out. But I think if Concordia is going to win the game, I think they need to keep a little bit more pace to their game.
You've been covering state tournament basketball for a while, Lou, here for News Channel Nebraska. It's a cool deal that obviously that NCN does. What do you think makes state basketball and NCN so special and such a tradition every year?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's special because you get to see, we talked about that, we get to see teams we don't normally see, like Sidney, get to run into people, get to meet people from all over the state, and we get to bring basketball games to people all over the state. That's really an awesome deal that people get to watch games like this, get to watch grandkids play, things like that. I think that's what makes it special.
You gotta love it, and if you want to see more of it, go to NCN Sports on X, formerly Twitter. You can get updates on high school sports across the state, updates on the Huskers, updates on the Doane Tigers, you name it. You can find it on our X at NCN Sports. 20-18 the score. Concordia with the lead over Sidney at the break. Back after this.
Your life can change with one heartbeat, and that was mine. Pregnant at 16, scared, and wondering how my mother would react was terrifying. This is Selma. I made the right decision. I can't imagine if I would have ended this beautiful life. Your baby is a person that deserves their life and your love. Adelina has filled my life with tremendous joy. There are difficult times, it's a life changer, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. My faith is my strength. You are not alone. Call your local pastor to talk.
State basketball on NCN is brought to you by Unity Eye Centers, your provider of choice for complete vision care for all ages. And by News Channel Nebraska. Want to know which games we're televising each week? Follow us on X at NCN Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Speedy Mart. When you have to fuel your journey and feed the crew, whether it's many or a few, Speedy Mart is fresh, ready, super clean, and convenient.
Here, customers can expect the highest quality fuel that they deserve.
And when you make a pit stop, it's gotta be fast. Easy in, easy out. Speedy Mart for the win.
The halftime show is proudly presented by Visit Kearney. Find it all in Kearney.
Liberty First Credit Union. It's for you. You live in Nebraska or the surrounding states? Then it's for you. Want to earn cash back on your transactions? Then it's for you. Are you ready to start banking with purpose? Then Liberty First Credit Union? It's for you. We're not your typical credit union. We support you with personalized banking that's open to everyone. Start banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union. We're for you.
Welcome back to the Bob Devaney Sports Center. At the break, it's Concordia 20 and Sidney 18. He's Lou Siefker. I'm Jake Bartecki. We're going to talk about something we've talked about before and many times on News Channel Nebraska because, frankly, it's worthy of it. The Kearney Sportsplex coming to Kearney this spring. It will feature a near 60,000 square foot hardwood gymnasium, over 3,000 spectator bleachers, 8 high school basketball courts, or can be turned into a dozen volleyball courts, and over 20 wrestling mats. Lou, as somebody from Nebraska, cool deal for a small town like Kearney. Not a small town, but a rural town.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying all season that Kearney is becoming a destination place, and Kearney Sportsplex is leading the way. I mean, that's going to draw a lot of people to the grand city of Kearney. And there's so many things you can do in that Sportsplex. Any sport you can just about think of. So much room, and so many events are going to be coming there. So, folks, if you like the state of Nebraska, get a chance to drive out to Kearney, you're going to have a great experience. Spring 2025, Jake, it's like got to be here, isn't it? It's spring. It feels like spring outside.
It sure does. 70-plus degrees here in the capital city today. The Sportsplex located on Eunice Drive, which puts it conveniently right near I-80, as well as hotels, restaurants, and the Kearney Visitor Center right nearby as well. Let's take a look at how we got to this 20-18 score here at the break. Concordia with a 2-point lead. We didn't see any points very much early on until a drive in the lane by Jackson Shepard took nearly 3 minutes, but Concordia was on the board. Then a back cut, pretty find here. Kaiser with the first of 7 points in that first half. Nice drive by Kulis. Turns around off the glass. That was a great take, Lou.
Yeah, it really was. And that's the shots, really both teams. You're their backdoor cut. Those shots around the rim is what both teams were trying to establish there early on.
Physical drive here by Kaiser. No foul either way. Lou and I thought there might have been, but Kaiser gets downhill, gets to the rim. After 9 misses combined between these two teams, Abendroth and then Cash Kenobi, the sophomore off the bench. Cash for 3 points.
Yeah, money for the bucket there.
Drive in the lane. Thrasher thrashed his way to the rack, got 2 more. And then Abendroth, the only player with multiple makes from beyond the arc, got his second 3-pointer. And then driving in the lane was Kaiser. Nope, he's going to dish it off to Landon Riddle, who gets to the rim. We'll step aside for 30 seconds before we are back for the second half. Concordia 20, Sidney 18 at the break.
Darling, I believe everything's gonna be alright. No need to worry because you got somebody on your side. We all need a fam, we all need a crew. When you're in a jam, don't know what to do. Just reach out your hand and we'll see you through. Doesn't matter where you're at, we got your back. We got your back.
With a Medica health plan, you're not just covered, you're cared for.
We got your back.
20-18 Concordia with the lead over Sidney on News Channel Nebraska. Compelling conversation with both coaches at the break. Coach Ken Kulis of Omaha Concordia saying this is the game he expected. He said these are two athletic, strong, good defensive teams. He thinks it's going to stay close and low scoring right through the end of the game. For Sidney, Coach Austin Lewis agreed, said these are two great defenses. But he said he thought his team played a little bit too fast in the second quarter. Rushed some shots. That was how Concordia was able to come back. Jake and Lou, back to you.
All right, thank you, Eric. Good insight there. Good hits, as always, at the break from our main man at NCN. A miss to start the second half for Sidney, and Concordia a chance to build on their lead early here.
It might come down to who makes the makeable shots the best. Both teams have kind of left some points out there. Sidney was the better team at layups in the first half. Concordia did leave some points out there on the floor.
Drive in the lane, and the reverse layup with the right hand. Jack Thrasher for 2.
That's a good look there for Concordia.
Thrasher now with 6 points in the ball game. A drive in the lane. Got to the rim. Did Alec Doty. He's fouled, and he'll go to the line for 2 free throws early here in the third quarter.
Well, I think Sidney's game is what you just saw there. Off the dribble, attack the basket, get to the free throw line, play that physical style of basketball. And as we mentioned at halftime, I think Concordia wants to play in the second half a little bit more of that tempo that you saw in the second quarter.
And you heard Eric McKay talk about it. Got to get downhill more. 2 for 2 at the line goes Alec Doty. Two-point game, Concordia with the lead. This Concordia team averaging 57 points per game. They allow about 42, right around where they hit those marks this season is where they sit right now. Stepping to his left, Kulis tries the 3, unable to hit. Concordia now from beyond the arc, 2 of 9. Sidney just 1 of 10.
Yeah, both teams struggling from the perimeter here in this ball game.
Kaiser with 2 fouls, kicks it back out. Goes over to Riddle. And now it's Kaiser back with it. Kaiser star defensive player, kicks over to Doty, who knocks down the three. Sidney goes back in front here in the third.
Yeah, those types of shots for both teams will be big. Can you penetrate, kick it out, get those three-pointers?
Doty with 5 points to start the third, but an answer for Abendroth, who's now got 9 points in the ball game. And back and forth we go here in the North Bottoms.
Abendroth has been the one consistent guy from the perimeter here today.
Kaiser, overhead pass. Riddle hands it off left side. Ball was loose, somehow ended up in the possession of Landon Riddle. Right place, right time, 2 points, and we're tied.
Yeah, sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He was a little bit of both on that play.
Riddle with 4 points in the ball game now, tied up at 25. Sidney not necessarily used to playing in a lot of close games. Their scoring margin this season plus 16. When you play a lot of those teams out west, when you got the talent that Sidney does, usually by this point you're starting to pull away. Now you're in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Koulis, fade away.
That's been kind of the knock on the West teams, is that you just don't have as many good teams out there. But the Sidney team is a very good team.
On the near side, it's Fiskus. Hands off over to Doty. Kaiser back to his right. Doty knocks down another one.
Wow.
Sidney goes back in front. The second half right now, you're seeing the three-point shooting begin to light up. That one off the mark, but the two teams a combined 3 of 5 from beyond the arc in the second half.
Yeah, that last shot was not, we've seen these shots coming out of the offense. We've talked about that a couple of games already, is that you need to find those threes in the flow of your offense. Just the quick pull-up threes have just not been falling.
Pass got deflected, but it got through. Fiskus couldn't finish, got hit on the play, no call. And here come the Mustangs. Halfway through the third, number 4 with the fadeaway. Drew Koulis into double figures. And he's got a 1-point lead to protect for his Concordia Mustangs. Driving the baseline was Kaiser, and he is fouled. Our third quarter brought to you in part by Yankton Medical Clinic. They're in Norfolk. Choose the medical clinic your friends recommend. 5-star patient-rated Dr. Harper and Spannel. Plus, our specialists are building a Norfolk legacy, one patient at a time.
Go back to that last bucket by Concordia. Drew Koulis makes tough shots look routine. He just does that knack.
A shooter of 44% on the season to further solidify Lou's point. Just is able to make unorthodox shots fall. Even.
Yeah.
Pass right side, Abendroth hands off. Now it's Kaiser who drives. Lays it up and in. Tough take there for Kean Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm not sure Concordia has anybody physically strong enough to keep him out of the paint. That's why Kaiser's so important for the Sidney Red Raider team.
6'4", 200 at that post spot, and he can shoot as well. Ball down low, shot up, Thrasher couldn't finish. Taylor grabbed the board and threw it off a Raider. This will stay with Concordia, and they're going to catch a foul here on Landon Riddle as well. Riddle picks up his second.
Now, right now, Jake, nobody in real serious foul trouble. Nobody has more than 2.
And that keeping Kaiser out in the second quarter probably helped that.
Yeah, you take a chance not bringing him in. He was out for about 5-6 minutes.
Off the inbound, well drawn up play. Cheatham couldn't finish, but the putback is up and good. Koulis again.
Koulis, one of the better rebounding guards around. Got that offensive board and a putback. You don't see guys his size doing that very often.
And an answer. Koulis, then Kaiser, and that's becoming the heavyweight battle in this one.
Yeah, both guys finding shots in the paint. 1
1 point lead for the Raiders. Thrasher with the left hand is able to finish, and a timeout called by Ken Kulis. Back and forth we go. Fans are loving it. They're on their feet all around the facility. We called the Bob. 33-32. Concordia leads. 2:16 to go in the third.
This broadcast is brought to you by Western Oil. Make your first and last stop to and from the game at your nearest Speedy Mart or good-to-go convenience stores today. See the trainer. Need relief from pain or support for recovery? Don't see just anyone. See the trainer. And by Zollner Ford Lincoln. Proud to be your local Ford and Lincoln dealer.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
We are getting treated to a dandy here in Class C1. The 3-6 matchup, the 3-seed Mustangs against the 6-seed Sidney Red Raiders. This is an awesome game. The winner will take on Doniphan Trumbull. You made a good point, Lou. I think the difference in this one is who's going to make the shots that have to fall, the easy makes under the rim. How do those teams be able to convert those when they've struggled down low?
Yeah, exactly right. Three-pointers have started to fall. That one does not.
And three there by Doty was off the mark. We've got a tie-up and a foul on the rebound on Reed Fiskus, who picks up his first. Again, as Lou, you pointed out, no real foul trouble, but a lot of fouls disrupting the offensive flow at times.
Yeah, it has. I think we'll see how this game goes down the stretch. And I think the physicality is going to play a big part of it here. And who's got the most stamina here at the end of the ballgame?
It's a 1-point lead for Concordia. 1:47 to go, and the clock running. Rejection. And now a quarterback level pass. Up the floor. The layup up, no good. And those are the kind of shots we were talking about, Lou Siefker.
Yep.
Off the turnover, the shot wouldn't go for Alec Doty. Here's Kulis. Kick out three. Cheetah left it short. Kulis grabs another board. Turns around from the elbow. Can't get it to fall. And a rebound knocked out of bounds. This will stay with the Mustangs. And it looks like we'll have the official come over and signal a foul on Landon Riddle, who picks up his third. He's the first to 3 fouls for the Raiders.
Yeah, that could be a factor here. Now an offensive foul.
And that'll give the basketball back to Sidney. And there you see Austin Lewis. We've been watching him in front of us here. A lot of passion from Austin Lewis, the 9-year head coach for Sidney.
I think it must have been an illegal screen because the ball hadn't even been inbounded yet.
It was charged to Cole Cheatham, who picked up his third. Coming up on a minute to go in the third here at the Devaney Center. Fiskus swings it to the top of the key. This is Kaiser. Now it's Kenobi. One-handed bounce pass to set up Riddle, who rattles home the three, and Sidney back in front by 2.
That's a big-time shot. Ending the quarter, a little bit of momentum maybe for Sidney.
Drew Kulis to his right side to Taylor. And back up top, Cole Cheatham. Final 30 seconds of the third. 35-33, Red Raiders lead. Cheatham with a kick out to Taylor. Well-guarded three, left short, but chasing down the rebound is Shepard, who gets up with it. And he won't get the shot to go, but he's fouled, and with 15 seconds, we'll go to the line for 2.
That's just a good effort play that time by the senior Jackson Shepard. Gets a chance now to tie the game from the free throw line as this quarter. 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Sidney will likely get the last shot.
Shot up, free throw, no good. We have had 11 lead changes in this one, Lou Siefker. That's got to be probably the most of the day to this point.
Yeah.
At least the games we might have seen.
Yeah, that's for sure for here today. That's no doubt about it. This has been a tightly contested ball game.
Second free throw up and good as Shepard goes 1 of 2. Concordia 5 of 9 at the line today. They have struggled offensively in the last few possessions. 0 for 4 on their last 4 field goals, and that ended a scoring drought.
Yeah, they get it. Last shot here is Sidney.
Pass right side. Kaiser with 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Pads the Red Raiders lead. The quarterback throw down the floor. Well off the mark. And Kian Kaiser showing up in a big way as Sidney leads it by 4 heading to the 4th. You're watching high school state tournament basketball on NCN.
Hi, this is Misty. Here at Family Physical Therapy, we strive to go beyond your symptoms, ensuring you have access to quality, individualized care. We offer physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Family Physical Therapy has an excellent staff that cares about our patients' success. Whether you're suffering from a sports injury, a stroke, or working to improve balance and coordination, Family Physical Therapy is here to help. When you're here, you're family. Visit us at one of our many Nebraska locations today.
Anything for the floor, O Street Carpet has it and more. From little feet to little paws, to updates and overhauls. From soft and cozy to durable and resilient. From something that blends in or something that's different. From DIY to custom install, O Street Carpet can help you with it all. Whatever your needs are for the floor, O Street Carpet has it and more.
A 20-point third quarter, for the Red Raiders has them in front by 4, heading to the 4th, 38-34. He's Lou Siefker. My name is Jake Bartecki. It's been since 2015 since Sidney has made it to the state finals. They're not there yet. They have to finish this one off and get through the semis, but a lot of excited people in western Nebraska, I'm sure. Drew Koulis, top of the key. That's how you start the 4th quarter if you're Concordia.
Man, both we talked about it before. Both Kaiser and Koulis there for Concordia. They have been clutch. That's a lot of K sounds.
Kian Kaiser with 14 points in the ball game. Andrew Koulis with 13 for Concordia. Kaiser went for the rebound. They'll catch a foul here against the Mustangs. And that'll go against Drew Koulis, just his first of the ball game. But things starting to ramp up a little bit here in the 4th.
This is going to be interesting down the stretch. We've seen both the star players make big-time plays.
Kaiser with a beautiful find, and Doty high off the glass, missed another good look. And now Doty late down the back of the floor, and a miss underneath for Cheatham, and a foul.
Both these teams have left some points out on the floor. Cole Cheatham really mad at himself for missing that one. Really blew by the defender.
And Cheatham caught with the foul there. And that is number 3 on Cole Cheatham.
You don't want to compound the problem and you miss a shot and then pick up a foul on top of that.
7 minutes to go in the ball game. At the top of the key with the basketball, Dorsey bounces one left to Kaiser. To the right side, Dorsey. Drop down pass inside to Fiskus. He bounces it back out to Doty for 3, and he missed another one. Alec Doty, a rough second half for the game. Now 2 of 11 from the field, 2 of 12 now with that miss.
Yeah, missed everything with that one.
Up the floor, Cheatham. Floater in the lane, won't go. And the rebound collected by Kaiser. What a game we're getting, Lou.
Yeah, so tightly contested. Now a timeout here for Sidney.
Now Austin Lewis going to talk things over. 6:17 to go in this one. Sidney by the slimmest of margins on NCN.
NCN Sports is brought to you by Currency. Visit GoCurrency.com for details. The Carpet Shop, providing quality residential and commercial floor covering and installation for almost 50 years. And by See the Trainer with locations in Columbus, Lincoln, Omaha, Bellevue, and North Platte.
.37 in favor of the Sidney Red Raiders. You see them there huddled up around head coach Austin Lewis. We have seen 11 lead changes in this ball game. Lou Stiefker, back and forth we go. In your estimate, at one point, I'm going to re-ask you this question. What's going to be the difference? Before you said making the easy shots. What you say you now?
I don't know that it's changed. Both teams have really missed some point-blank shots. And when it comes down to it, if you get good shots and this game's close and hotly contested, you've got to make those makeable shots.
Doty passed it off to Riddle and an interception. Just the second turnover of the ball game for Sidney. Jack Thrasher with the steal underneath. 2 minutes into the fourth. Concordia with a chance to take their first lead to the frame. Amandroth throws a wild pass, and Cheatham unable to handle it, and the Mustangs trade the turnover right back to Sidney.
Well, neither team has really turned the ball over much, but back-to-back turnovers give Sidney the basketball back, up one.
Yeah, 5 giveaways for Concordia. That was their 5th, just 2 for Sidney. Sidney shooting at 36% from the field in the game. Concordia at 38. Kaiser drove in. Tough shot. Wouldn't go. Threading the needle. A bounce pass inside. Shot up no good by Thrasher. Shepard the rebound. And ripping it away is Reed Fiskus. Amongst the trees. Gets the steal. And Austin Lewis is saying slow it down.
Slow things down. Work your offense here. Sidney's better when the game is at a slower pace and they could work things in the half court.
Landon Riddle went over to Fiskus and now Kaiser. Kaiser, 14 points in the game. Finds Doty, drives in, a beautiful drive in the lane, and Doty's got a dozen. Sidney leads by a trio.
That's a great finish by Doty, and as you mentioned there, extend that lead.
Pass top of the key. It's Shepard to the left block. Thrasher drives through the chest of the defender. Kaiser tried to draw the charge. They don't get the call, and Thrasher scores it. There was a similar play in the first half involving Kaiser. They didn't call it then. They didn't call it now.
Yeah, a lot of, well, if you're consistent, that's really all you can ask. A lot of contact there, but no call either way.
Kenobi back to the top of the key. Doty finds a wide open Landon Riddle underneath the basket. Reed Fiskus with the assist. His 5th assist of the game, and Sidney back up by 3.
I like the fact that Riddle caught that and shot it without coming down. Catch it at the top, get that shot off, and don't bring the ball down and allow the defense to come down on you.
9 points in the ball game now for Riddle, the 6-foot senior guard. Here's Kulis. Barely even arced his wrist on the shot, but he gets the line drive jumper to go. He's got 15, and we've got a 1-point game. 42-41, Sidney with the lead. Drew Kulis doing what he's done all day long.
Start your next journey with Woodhouse. Our commitment extends beyond just selling cars. We offer an unparalleled car buying experience that allows you to shop and buy all online. Explore an array of new brands, makes, and models, as well as our large selection of pre-owned vehicles. And it's easy to get started today with our streamlined purchasing process online, granting you the freedom to secure your next vehicle anytime, anywhere. Discover a better way to buy with Woodhouse.
Did you know that the #1 reason officials quit is because of verbal abuse from parents and fans? We are losing officials, and we need everyone to respect the ref.
Judges help students to find their voice and become lifelong supporters of the arts.
Without these individuals, NSAA activities would not be possible.
I cannot participate in the activities that I love without these officials and judges. So please, let the players play, let the coaches coach, let the officials officiate, and let the judges judge.
(42-41), Sidney leads Concordia in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes and 32 seconds remaining. Our fourth quarter brought to you in part by Visit Lincoln. See and experience all that the great city of Lincoln has to offer. Discover more at Lincoln.org. And we are indeed in the capital city, the Bob Devaney Sports Center, News Channel Nebraska, presenting another week of state tournament basketball statewide across Nebraska. 1 point lead for Sidney, and Kaiser gets reached in on and fouled by Jackson Shepard.
Now to watch the foul situation now for Concordia.
Yeah.
You got Cheatham has 4 fouls. And for Sidney, you've got Riddle with 4 fouls. So starting to mount.
Here's a three, up and good. Doty from downtown. Sidney by 4.
Boy, Doty has been good here in this late stretches of the game.
Here's a look to answer. Won't go. And the rebound picked up, brought up the floor by Doty. To your point, Lou, 13 points in the second half, 15 in the game for the 6'2 junior.
Yeah, you always like to see guys that step up. Who's going to step up and make plays? It's been Riddle in this game.
Pass right side, top of the key.
Or Doty.
No, you're good. I knew what you meant. Swings it to the corner. Kaiser to his right. Shot clock is down to 5. Kaiser will drive, throws one up. Somehow got a shot off the putback. Hangs on the rim, but won't go. Boy, if that becomes the difference in the game.
Wow. I thought the ball was just going to stick there for a minute.
Anybody who says basketball's not a game of inches, I raise you that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Cheatham at the free throw line. To his right, to Kulis. Good defensive possession here for the Red Raiders, but a foul called. I think they caught Doty, and if they did, that's just his first.
Well, that's a good thing. Ooh.
They did indeed catch Doty. I thought I heard the public address say somebody else, and if it would have been, I believe, they did. They did indeed call that against Landon Riddle, and I don't think he realized it was against him, and he's checking out.
Yeah, that's 5.
Landon Riddle, a gutsy effort, 9 points, and I, for what it was worth, thought that foul was on Doty. It's on Riddle. He'll take a seat. He becomes the first player of the game to foul out.
That's unfortunate for Sidney.
See how they respond. They went to Lance Holly off the bench. Turnaround shot is up. Good. Will they count the bucket? I don't believe they will. 1:43 to go. We'll have free throws here. The foul on Lance Holly.
Yeah, with Riddle sitting down, that's a guy that averages about 10 and 5 a game. So that's a production right now that you don't have the rest of the ball game.
Thrasher drives in. Didn't have free throws on the last one. I believe we will here. And we will indeed. And Sidney, is there a strategy to the fouls right now, Lou Siefker?
Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. If you're going to play that game, you have to make sure you're fouling the right people.
Right.
I
And
think
that foul is on Kaiser, too.
Right.
Free throw on the way for Thrasher. 54% on the year, and it is good. Thrasher at the line today, 2 of 3.
Kaiser has 3 fouls now. Another one to watch, especially if this game goes overtime.
Second one on its way. That one good as well. Stick around at the conclusion of the ball game for our player of the game interview, brought to you in part by Heritage Fountain Point and Roe Buick in Grand Island and Aurora. Sidney by 2, 45-43. Timeout on the floor. 1:33 remaining. Don't you dare go anywhere. You're watching State Tournament Basketball on NCN.
Kearney, Nebraska is the getaway you never knew you needed. With comfortable, premium lodging, a eclectic shopping, and a variety of locally owned craft food and drink options, Kearney has something for everyone. By day, you'll find rich history, outdoor adventure, and some of America's most unique attractions. And by night, our many entertainment options, dazzling performances, and unique hangouts offer the perfect way to unwind. Visit Kearney. It's so much more than just in the middle.
State basketball on NCN is brought to you by Heritage at Fountain Point, redefining senior living with a steadfast commitment to comfort, compassion, and dignity. Agri-City Insurance, protecting what you grow. And by Family Physical Therapy and Sports Center, getting you back in the game.
That's a pretty excited group of Red Raiders who made the long 6+ hour drive from Sidney, and another big group. Yeah, give us a cheer, Concordia. And there's go back to Sidney here, and here comes the cat and mouse game of who can cheer louder.
Yeah. You know, I think the conversation here with Coach Lewis, I think, is what sort of shot you want to take here. I think you take the ball to the basket like they've been doing and try to crash the glass if you don't get the shot to fall. And then with the 2-point lead, you're not necessarily worried at this point about fouling, but that's the conversation you have to have at some point if that changes.
Ian Kaiser has the basketball. The football recruit of Iowa State and Wyoming dishes it back out to Doty. Turnaround in the lane, left it short. And hugging the basketball is Jackson Shepard. He grabbed it, and they're going to catch a foul here against Sidney as well. They catch Doty, and Doty picks up just his first. And that time, it is on Doty.
Yeah, that one it is. Fourth foul in the quarter, so the next foul sends Concordia to the free throw line. That's also something both teams in a close game have to think about. If you lose the lead, now we only have 1:02 to go, so kind of very much crunch time here. Can Concordia tie or take the lead on this possession?
1 minute remaining in regulation time. 45-43, Sidney with the lead. Abendroth bounces one to his right to Thrasher. Kick out three. Koulis. He's been quiet in the fourth, but until right now.
Mr. Clutch from downtown gives the Mustangs the lead. Now a travel.
Oh boy, Cash Kenobi, the sophomore, bringing the ball up the floor, walks with it. And we have a timeout called by Austin Lewis. Let's keep it right here, Lou. Let's take a look here at the kick-out three. Koulis made the three-pointer to start the fourth, was really quiet, hadn't even touched the ball until right then.
Yeah, well, it's a great job by Thrasher to dribble penetrate. We've seen that so many times today. The dribble penetration sets up your shooters, and Koulis is a great shooter and a clutch shooter. You saw that. He knocked down that three. And now even a bigger thing now is the turnover. We just talked about that. If you lose the lead, now you got to talk about who you're going to foul, and you're going to have to. You certainly could play defense, but you're going to let you don't want to allow Concordia to run that clock down to 5 seconds, and you don't have any time. So you're probably thinking about trying to get a steal and then fouling if you don't get the steal right away. Try to extend this game a little bit.
We'll stick around once this phenomenal ball game is complete for our top plays, brought to you in part by Currency. And Lou, 40 seconds left. That's a lot of time in basketball, especially in a one-point game. We might see a few more top plays here down the stretch.
Yeah, you certainly could. But again, I don't know that if you're Sidney, I don't know that you just drop back and play defense. They're going to pressure, try to get a steal, and we'll see how quickly they foul. The other conversation is who you foul. You don't want to put Sidney's, or rather Concordia's best free throw shooters at the line.
40 seconds to go. And Austin Lewis just got hit with a bench warning. We've seen him kind of all game, very passionate. He's wanted the game called fairly. And the officials, credit to them, not going immediately to the technical. Right. I like the bench warning there.
Yeah, I don't know that you want to affect the game at this point, but now it's in Coach Lewis's ballpark here not to pick up the technical foul. He was upset with the travel call a moment ago.
46-45 the score, 40 seconds to go. Tension adamant throughout the building here in Lincoln. Ball pushed up the floor by Jackson Shepard. Shepard to the corner.
But they're going to play D here. They're going to allow Concordia to run that clock down.
Until right then, Lance Holly will wrap up and foul Jackson Shepard.
A lot of time came off that clock, about 15 seconds. You're trying to extend the game. You just hope that the Mustangs don't make free throws.
Well, the third foul of the ball game on Lance Holly, and they fouled Jackson Shepard, who's a free throw shooter of 67%. 1 for 2 at the line today, and make it 1 of 3 as he misses the first.
Well, that certainly leaves the options open now for Sidney. You don't have, if he makes both, you think about having to go for a 3. Now, second one is good. You can think about a 2-pointer or maybe like we saw with Concordia, the dribble penetration to set up a 3-pointer to win it.
20 seconds to go, now down to 18.6, and Austin Lewis will call a timeout. Like the decision there. Well, Lou, we'll turn to your years of expertise doing color broadcasts for News Channel Nebraska. What is Austin Lewis going to draw?
Well, I think he's going to probably set something up for a guy like Doty or certainly Kaiser to try to take it off the dribble. I think they've done that all game. They've been really good off the bounce. Get the ball into the paint and try to create. You think about the kick out to the shooters, but I think they're going to attack the glass and or attack the rim, I should say, and then go to the glass and try to get a putback if you miss that shot. I don't think you're thinking about winning it here. I think you're thinking about scoring, and if you can, maybe get a 3-point play.
It's been one heck of a ball game. When you talk about points in the paint, that edge is held by the slightest of margins by Concordia, 24-22. And I think you said you'd probably go to Kaiser here. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kaiser or Doty. Doty's also been able to do a good job here in the second half. He's kind of had the hot hand. I think you're looking at either of those two guys. Certainly Kaiser is your leading scorer, and he's got to be a factor in this.
15 points in the ball game, 13 in the second half for Alec Doty, the 6'2 junior guard. The inbound from just beyond the front court by Reed Fiskus. Picked up by Doty, and there he is. 15 seconds. Kaiser will try to get to the rim to tie the ball game. It won't go. Fiskus back out to Doty for 3. Off the front iron. The putback won't go. 4 seconds. And a foul underneath. They wrapped up the rebounder. Fiskus with the foul. Multiple looks for the Red Raiders, and it just wouldn't go.
Absolute anguish for Sidney. That shot, I think he was trying to draw a foul. That was a good-looking 3. It was open. How close? You said game of inches, Jake, a minute ago.
Yeah.
How about that? Couple of shots that almost fell, not quite. Only 2.1 seconds to go. 2 free throws ices this game.
Rasher makes the first.
Now you could even miss this one if you wanted to. It's going to be tough for Sidney to get the ball down the floor, but that ices it right there.
There is the dagger. Doty will throw it down the floor, but it won't matter. The Concordia Mustangs, after a third-place finish at state last year, are heading back to the semifinals in their 5th state tournament appearance in the last 5 years. 49-45, the Mustangs take care of the Red Raiders. Lou Siefker, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a hotly contested game. A great game. One of those games that, we talk about it so often. The game of inches when the ball is on the rim. A couple of times there for Sidney just didn't fall. Concordia survives and advances, and that's really what you have to do here in Lincoln. Find a way to win. The Mustangs do exactly that.
We'll kick it to break. When we come back, our very own Eric McKay will break it all down with head coach Ken Kulis and our player of the game. 49-45, the final. The Mustangs get to celebrate in the capital city.
Nebraska weather is extreme, fast-changing, and at times severe. That's why News Channel Nebraska is turning to the person who knows Nebraska's weather best. Introducing Chief Forecaster Kent Bowden. With over 40 years of forecasting experience and a place in the Nebraska Broadcasters Hall of Fame, Kent brings unmatched experience to your screen. Watch Kent on NCN Monday through Thursday, bringing his forecast to the entire state.
Teammates Mentoring is in need of mentors, especially for students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Meeting with a student just once a week in school can make a positive impact on their life by providing a sense of hope and helping them reach their full potential. 92% of Teammates Mentors report that they leave their mentoring time in a better mood than when they arrive. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Teammates Outdoor today to learn more information about how you can get involved. Join the team. Be a mentor.
Hi, I'm Baylor Shireman, proud to call Aurora, Nebraska home. From dreaming big in a small town to being drafted by the Boston Celtics, I've always aimed for the best. That's why I rely on Roe Buick in Grand Island and Roe Chevrolet in Aurora for my vehicles. When you're driven to succeed, you choose a winning team. Before you drive away in your next car, check with the team that knows how to win. Roe, it's the Roe you know.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. I love it. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
We're definitely coming back. Sure.
We have a wedding band to buy. So.
We do, yes. We have wedding bands. We'll be back for that.
Starter Heyman Jewelers, downtown 12th and O, South Point Pavilions, and Grand Island.
State basketball on NCN is brought to you by Roe Buick in Grand Island and Roe Chevy in Aurora. And by News Channel Nebraska. Want to know which games we're televising each week? Follow us on X at NCN Sports.
Post game here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. What a game. Concordia victorious, and I'm here with Coach Ken Koulis. Coach, you told me at halftime you thought this was how the game was going to go. It was going to be tough, kind of low scoring, two physical athletic defenses. What was the difference? What did you see from your team that allowed them to make enough plays to get the win here today?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Sidney on a great year and probably, honestly, the most athletic team we faced. Just incredible strength and jumping and toughness on their side. So I want to congratulate them on a great year. But I'm just super proud of our guys for sticking with it because we got down a couple times. We could have checked it in. We could have said, well, they're up on us. We're not going to get it done. And we got some rebounds. We got some stops. And we're lucky to make a couple shots down the stretch.
You've talked about your seniors, Jack and Jackson, and what they've meant for this team over the years. What kind of leadership did they show today in those moments where you fell down?
And Logan Herman. I have Logan.
That's right,
Logan
as well.
Logan's with us too. But they've been down here for this is the fourth year they've been here, and they played in these moments before. And when I looked at their faces on the court, I didn't see panic at all. There was never a moment where they were like, oh, I'm going to panic and this is above me. And they calm the team, and they do such a good job just sticking with what we need to do and calming the team down. I'm really proud of them.
Well, we know what Drew means to you, personally, but what about as a player? What has he meant to this team, and in particular, hitting the big shot today, how big he was today for you guys?
Well, he's fiery. He's a spark plug. He's always been that way, and, we was fortunate to hit the shot tonight, and he's the one thing about him is he's never been afraid of that moment. He's always been able to step up and in big situations, and he hasn't always made them in those big situations. You fail a lot, but just to have enough guts to be able to step up and take it, win or lose, make or no make, is just makes me really proud of him.
Thoughts on Donovan Trumbull?
Well, we played him earlier. We had a barn burner out there in Donovan with them. Obviously, they're playing great. They got not just two really good players, but they got a really good team. They have kids that can score multiple ways. They got two outstanding offensive players, and they play great defense. So they do a great job out there in Donovan. We knew that. We actually scheduled them because we wanted to see somebody of their caliber. So they weren't on our schedule until this year, and we both kind of looked at each other. we played in Heartland Hoops Classic last year, and we said, hey, we should do this because this would be a great game for us. So we were happy to go out there and play them and actually find a way to get a win. But really good team. We're excited for the semis.
Well, Coach, congrats on the win. Good luck in the semifinal.
Thank you.
That's Coach Ken Koulis. Now let's bring in Drew Koulis, our player of the game. Drew, walk me through that final shot. You got to your spot. What did you see on that play? What allowed you to get open and ultimately hit the game winner?
Yeah, so we had a cold play, and I know Jack. I've known him forever. He's one of my good friends, and I just had a feeling he was going to kick it out to me. So I was ready. You just got to have confidence in that moment, and I was ready to stick it for my teammates.
Is that the kind of play you guys like practice in the driveway over the years?
I like to play in the driveway sometimes and imagine like situations like that, but it's really fun to play in this scenario. So,
Coach said he knew that this was going to be a tough physical game. You certainly saw that, an athletic, tough defense. What did it take to come back when you guys fell down a couple of times in this game?
So we've just practiced all week. We had a really hard week of practice, and we knew we were going to have the guts to pull it out, and we did. We worked really, really hard for that moment. So we knew what it took because we've been here before, but we just got it done.
You've seen Donovan Trumbull before. What's it going to take to beat him on Friday?
Yeah, we played him the first time. It was a dogfight. We're just going to have to bring the same enthusiasm we did today and just bring it on Friday.
Drew, congrats on the win. Congrats on being our player of the game. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
That's Drew Koulis, hit the game winner. Making memories down here at State. That's what it's all about. Jake and Lou, back to you.
Absolutely right. That is what State is indeed all about. Thank you very much, Eric McKay, and to father and son, Andrew and the Koulises over there. It's a cool little deal. I mean, we talked about that, getting to play for your dad at the state tournament, Ken and Andrew. Good deal.
Special to be here with your team. It's extra special when one of those team members is your son. That makes that journey all that more meaningful.
Yeah, you can tell it meant a lot to them as well. Let's get ourselves a look at the updated bracket in Class C1. So it's all over until Friday, and there you go. There's the semifinals. Lincoln Lutheran and Ashland Greenwood. Concordia and Donovan Trumbull. Which of those matchups intrigues you more? Or is about even, Lou Siepker?
Well, I think Ashland Greenwood is playing a lot better than a 5 seed. They've really come together. I thought they looked great in that game against Cozad. Lincoln Lutheran, the number 1 seed, has been playing wonderful basketball all year. Concordia found a way to win, found a way to advance, and really like Donovan Trumbull. The first time I've seen them all year, really like what they bring. So going to be a great semifinals. Really, really like those matchups. I think you're going to see some games like this one where it comes down to a shot or two being the difference.
I agree with you. I think Lincoln Lutheran, Ashland Greenwood, with where Jacob Dutzman's at right now with his game. You mentioned Ashland Greenwood's red hot. I think that's going to be an awesome game coming up on Friday. Let's take a look at how we got to what was an awesome game here on the afternoon slate at the Devaney Center. 49-45, the final. Concordia over Sidney. Let's tell you how we got there. Concordia is the 3 seed. Sidney was the 6. 18-8 were the Mustangs. 18-8 were the Red Raiders. 21-4 were the Mustangs. There is the pregame handshake, as is tradition here at the state tournament. Took us a while to get scoring in this one. Nearly 3 minutes. Kaiser slices in the lane, able to get downhill, get to the rim. He had a nice little game for him today. He had 14 points. Meanwhile, talk about a player of the game here. Andrew Koulis drives in, puts up 2 from the baseline on the drive. He ended up with 18 points. End of the first quarter here. Beautiful back cut. Great find to the sophomore, Cash Kenobi. Reed Fiskus, the assist from the top. 6 assists in the ball game for the senior guard. Up the floor. No rush here for Concordia, but then it's Owen Abendroth after 9 combined miss from downtown. Abendroth knocks down the first triple of the game, and to answer, Cash Kenobi off the bench. Cash money for 3, and we go back and forth in the first 16 minutes. Cash Kenobi, 3.2 points per game on the season. He ended up today with 9 points. Back the other way, beautiful drive here. Jack Thrasher thrashing his way into the lane. And to end the first half, why not a buzzer beater? Might not be a three-pointer or a half-court shot, but it's just as pretty. Landon Riddle on a beautiful feed from Kaiser, the back cut, the layup. The shot is good, and we head to the break. Second half, drive in the lane, deflected. Well, why not? Alec Doty, you're open for three. The ball rolled right to you. Why not pull the trigger? 13 second half points, 15 points in the game for Alec Doty. The answer on the other end is there. Owen Abendroth, his second make from downtown in the ball game. He had 9 points, all of them from beyond the arc, and now the three-point shot begins to fall. Doty does it again. Crossover move, pulls up from the top of the key and hits. Halfway through the third, Koulis drives in the lane. Line drive, awkward shot, little unorthodox, but it works. Even throw some salt on the wound. Landon Riddle with a little shoulder to Koulis after the play. Unintentional, of course. Drive in the lane, kick out three, top of the key. Koulis starts the fourth quarter off with a bang. That makes it a 1-point ball game. And Sidney was on the brink of pulling this one out. But look at the drive in the lane here. Jack Thrasher drives through the chest of Kean Kaiser. And Lou, I'll bring you in for this. We saw a play similar involving the same two players, just roles reverse, and they didn't call it then, they didn't call it now.
Yeah, it's a tough no call there, but it certainly went Concordia's way.
And here we go. Alec Doty, 3 minutes 10 seconds to go in the game from the left wing. Step back three. He rattles it home. Again, 13 points in the second half for Doty. 45-43 Sidney at this point. And then the kick out three went for Drew Koulis. Back the other way. Here's the drive in the lane. Kick to Koulis. And there it is. That's the dagger. Up the floor. Not dead yet were the Raiders. Pass went wide. Shot was no good for Doty. And a handshake line commences. Well, Lou, it was an exciting one. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it was a good basketball game. And like I said, Concordia finds a way. You had a very tough physical matchup.